to start the show, our producer, Jason Stein, is here in studio. He's going to play moderator. We're going to be playing a little game which is called How Did Bill Barr Spin It, ladies and gentlemen? How did Bill Barr spin it? And what this show is all about is it's about, or this little bit, I guess you could say, it's about Bill Barr doing an interview. Oh, thank you. We have some music in the background. That's how lovely. Bill Barr did an interview with the Wolf, not the Wolf of Wall Street, Wolf Blitzer on CNN yesterday, and Wolf Blitzer pressed him on a lot of questions. What's so funny, Stein? Why are you laughing so hard? It's the music? It sounds like porn music from the 70s.
The music.
All right.
The fact that it was delayed, the low production value, the little thought that went into this bit, all of it.
All right, Stein, take it over from here. Explain to us exactly what we're doing here. Go ahead.
Well, I got 3 hours to fill, so I'm trying to come up with ideas. And Bill Barr gave an interview on CNN with Wolf Blitzer, as you mentioned, and I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good interview. And I've agreed with a lot of what Bill Barr said. But the bottom line is this, is that anytime a person from the administration or any politician for that matter comes on and does an interview, there's going to be a certain amount of spin, right? They're going to be asked questions and they're going to spin it in a way that obviously makes them look favorable. So instead of just going through and, hey, here's a bunch of audio that Bill Barr played, I figured let's have some fun with it. We'll figure out how he spinned it. You'll guess, JD will guess, and then we'll see what the answer was. Does that make sense?
JD, does that sound fair?
Well, have you already listened to it, Brian?
I have not.
You haven't?
I
haven't either.
Brian doesn't really do any research for the show.
No,
okay.
I really don't.
So this is good then. This is totally organic. Although I have seen that Bill Barr did quote unquote destroy Wolf Blitzer from
I saw that he destroyed him.
a bunch of different sources,
okay.
but no, I haven't heard it myself either.
All right, so here
Good,
we go.
well, that's perfect,
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to play. It's time to play How Did Bill Barr Spin It?
Okay,
Jason Stein, take it away.
on the topic of Trump talking about the thugs on a plane, or as Doug Basham said yesterday, the snakes on the plane, that Trump claims he has firsthand knowledge that someone was on a plane and that there were some menacing people in black and that they may have been traveling to the RNC to cause trouble. Well, Wolf Blitzer asked this to Bill Barr about that claim.
In an interview this week, the president claimed that he heard about a plane, in his words, loaded with thugs wearing dark uniforms from a certain city that was headed to the Republican National Convention here in Washington, in his words, to do big damage. He didn't offer any specifics. He later, the next day, changed the story. The plane wasn't coming to Washington, was leaving Washington. Have you asked the FBI to investigate this?
Okay, so that was Wolf's question. JD, how did Bill Barr spin it?
I think he said, yes, I have asked the FBI to investigate it, and there is a current investigation ongoing, if not several investigations, because we've seen various things that have happened all over the country. There have been people that have been either flown in or driving in, and the majority of the arrests that we've made nationwide were people that haven't lived in that particular city.
Great.
Okay,
Brian?
I'm gonna assume that Bill Barr is an extremely honest human being, and I'm going to assume that Bill Barr answered as such. No, there's no evidence to support the fact that there are any men in black on these airplanes going into Washington or out of Washington. I'm going to give Bill Barr credit for hoping that he was honest with this answer, and he answered it appropriately and called it a conspiracy theory.
Okay, well, let's find out. Sean?
I don't have to ask the FBI because we received numerous reports of individuals coming from Portland, Washington, Seattle, and several other cities to come into Washington for the specific purpose of causing a riot.
Well, I have to give the points to JD.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second here.
He did say later in the interview, I don't know specifically what President Trump was referring to when he talked about this incident on this particular plane. But he did, as JD mentioned, in general say, yeah, we've seen a lot of this going on, and the FBI is investigating it.
I have an issue with that. It is a common general answer that he gave. It is common knowledge that there are people, outside influencers, out of state, out of city. Rittenhouse is an example of that, by the way, because he didn't live there.
Brian, he lived 15 minutes away.
He did not live in that city.
He worked in that city.
So whether you're 15 minutes away or whether you're 15 hours away, it is common knowledge that there are people outside that are coming in. But anyway, let's move on to
The
the next
fact is,
question.
you got it wrong.
All right, next
like
question. I'm sorry I gave Bill Barr the assumption that he was going to be honest. All
He was honest.
right, go ahead, Stein. Go ahead.
Okay, next, Wolf Blitzer pressed Attorney General Barr about something that Trump had said a few weeks ago, where he accused Obama and Biden of treason for allegedly spying on his campaign in 2016. Here was Wolf's question.
Is it appropriate, though, for the sitting president to be accusing his predecessor, President Obama, and former Vice President Biden of committing treason?
So is it appropriate for a sitting president to accuse his predecessor of treason? How did Bill Barr spin it?
Is it me first or Brian this time?
If you want me to,
Let's mix it up. Brian,
Okay,
you go
all
first.
right.
I'll also assume that Bill Barr is very honest and sincere in his answers. So I'm going to say his answer was a one-word answer. No.
Okay, JD.
Oh my God! All right, yes, I think you said yes. Considering the fact that that particular crime would be considered treason, and there is proof that that did take place, then yes, it's totally appropriate that he made that statement.
Okay, Shawnee, Bill Barr's answer.
Well, treason is a legal term. I think he's using it colloquially. To commit treason, you actually have to have a state of war with a foreign enemy. But I think he feels that they were involved in an injustice. And if he feels that, he can say it.
We'll have to award the points to Brian because he basically said that Trump's use of the word treason
Was
he
right.
didn't really say it was inappropriate, but he did say that it was the wrong term to
He
use.
said it was incorrect.
All right, so
because
it's
treason means
colloquial.
something completely
Well,
different.
you know what? I'm being a little sarcastic in my answers, but Bill Barr, for one moment in his life, showed a sign of honesty. So that's a good thing. Thank you.
Well, he's a
Thank you,
lawyer, so
Yeah.
he should know the legal definition of treason.
All right, moving on. Moving on. Number 3.
Number 3, the topic is, this happened, I guess, yesterday when President Trump was in North Carolina on a campaign stop, and he essentially urged his followers to vote twice in the election in order to test the system. So, in other words, he basically said, send in a mail-in ballot, absentee ballot, whatever, and then go to the
And
polls,
see if you can still vote.
and we'll see
Right.
just how good our system is, our election system is. So here was Wolf's question to Bill Barr.
It sounds like he's encouraging people to break the law and try to vote twice.
How did Bill Barr spin it, JD?
How did he spin this?
How did he answer it?
How did he answer this?
Please answer the question.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think about this here. I mean, what Trump is saying makes sense. If you are not confident in the mail-in voting system, and you think that if you do your entire voting process correctly, and you turn in your ballot and it doesn't get to where it needs to be, and you want to make sure that your quote unquote precious vote will be taken, then yeah, turn it.
I'm sorry. Can I interrupt?
What's
I'm
up?
sorry. I have to interrupt. Bro. Remember, when you're at the poker table and one of your opponents is taking really long to make a decision, and somebody calls the clock. Am I Stein?
You're going to call the clock.
Stein, am I allowed to call the clock?
I don't know what that means.
It means he's taking too long, and I want to give him a time
I don't
limit.
think it was taking that long.
I'm just being funny.
We've got
Go
some
ahead.
time to fill anyway.
Yeah, we got a lot of time to fill here.
All right. Well, Sean's giving you 30 seconds.
Okay.
so go
Yeah, no,
ahead. It's distracting him.
well, it's a hard question to answer, to be honest with you.
Okay, would you want to hear it again?
Yeah,
Let's do it again.
let's do it one more time.
So here's Wolf's question to Bill Barr about Trump allegedly telling people to vote twice in North Carolina.
It sounds like he's encouraging people to break the law and try to vote twice.
No, he's not encouraging people to break the law and try to vote twice. He's encouraging people to be able to get their vote in. And if they're not confident that mail-in voting is going to work, then they can go and they can check and see at the polls if the mail-in system is working, which I think is completely reasonable if you really value this 2020 election.
You're talking as Bill Barr or as yourself?
I'm talking as myself, and I started out as Bill Barr, but I transitioned. So the first
You transitioned. Well, you can't serve in the military.
Yeah, I agree. For the first 10 seconds of that were Bill Barr. It's a tough question because it's not really a question. It's
so
just,
essentially,
it's
you're
kind of a-
saying that
it's kind of a statement.
Bill Barr's answer to that is going to be something along the lines of he's not encouraging people to break the law. He's encouraging people to test the voting system.
Sure, there we go. That's a much better.
That's
answer,
how he
actually.
spent. That's how he
Excuse me,
spent it.
You're not supposed to be
Yeah,
helping
I
out.
like that. I like that.
I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah,
That took way too long.
clarification.
Okay,
I appreciate the clarification, Stein.
Okay, I'm not going to take as long, and I'm going to say this is the way Bill Barr answered the question because I think he's a very honest and good human being. I think Bill Barr said it's very inappropriate for the President of the United States to push this narrative. I'm also going to say that I believe that Bill Barr said that if Donald Trump continues this narrative, then I'm going to have to support Joe Biden. I think that's what Bill Barr said. Yes.
Well, let's find out.
All right, I think I'm wrong.
Well, I don't know exactly what he was saying, but it seems to me what he's saying is he's trying to make the point that the ability to monitor this system is not good. And if it was so good, if you tried to vote a second time, you would be caught if you voted in person.
That would be illegal if they did that. If somebody mailed in a ballot and then actually showed up to vote in person, that would be illegal.
I don't know what the law in the particular state says.
You can't vote twice.
Well, I don't know what the law in the particular state says and when that vote becomes
Is
final.
there any state that says you can vote twice?
Well, there's some, maybe that you can change your vote up to a particular time. I don't know what the law is, so I'm not going to offer.
He was saying test the
Well,
system.
if you know what he's saying, why are you asking me what he's saying?
Ooh.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm dying here.
No, I thought what Trump did was brilliant, by the way.
Okay, hold on. Let's just
I thought it
focus
was
on this audio.
absolutely brilliant.
I know you think he's brilliant.
No,
That's a shocker.
that particular thing was if there was going to be
First of all-
rampant mail-in ballot fraud, then that is the perfect way to curtail
Can I just
it.
respond to that audio we just heard real quickly and just say, I'm dying here. Wolf Blitzer, when Bill Barr is saying, well, I don't know what the laws are in different states, and Wolf Blitzer saying, well, in what state can you vote twice? And then Bill Barr won't directly say that anything. He's the attorney general. He knows that you can't vote twice anywhere. And he tries to spin it. And then Wolf Blitzer says again, well, wait a second. Name me a state where you can vote twice. To me, that is the attorney general in this country. And you have Wolf Blitzer just embarrassing him. He's spinning. His head is spinning.
Yeah, I can't award points to either of you because I think you were both wrong.
I was
because
very
no
wrong.
one was no one except thank you. No one except me and the millions of other people who watched that interview would could have predicted that answer. So you guys obviously didn't watch the interview and you didn't know.
I think
That's exactly right.
Thank you, Mr. McCloskey. I think our 8 billion followers on social media would agree with you, Mr. Stein. So I would say that we both don't deserve it. I'm shocked because I really thought that Bill Barr was going to be in favor of Biden with that answer and not wear the Donald Trump knee pads. Obviously, I was very
Wait,
very
what
wrong.
do you mean be in favor of Biden? How is that? How is mail-in voted in favor of Biden, Brian?
JD, that was something called levity. I was making a joke.
okay.
Obviously, there is
Okay.
no
All right.
no time in history where
Okay.
Bill Barr will ever support Joe Biden.
No, that's not what I'm talking. I'm saying why would that be in favor of Joe Biden?
Okay, so the president is making a
Because
reference.
you have the
I'm
the
answering.
opinion that
I'm
if
answering.
if mail-in ballot voting is very widespread, that it's going to help
Okay.
Joe Biden. And,
So the
and Donald
president-
Trump just destroyed that.
So
by the
I'll,
way,
I'll
Brian,
answer your question.
which
the
again to
president,
me was brilliant.
the president is referencing to the fact of people voting twice.
Right.
Okay, which is obviously illegal.
Well, here's the deal: if you have a ballot and you turn it in through the mail, and your ballot doesn't get to where it's supposed to be, and your vote doesn't count, then that's completely reasonable.
But
then you should be able to go to the poll and vote again.
But North Carolina does not, to my knowledge, have the universal mail-in balloting. They would be referring to absentee balloting, right?
Well, in absentee balloting, that should be the case. That should be the
which
case.
Trump said was
already.
okay.
Right? Which is totally okay. Absolutely. But what's trying to happen here in Nevada with AB4? That's totally different. If all these ballots go out to all these different addresses and people turn them in, and when they turn in, they actually end up in the trash can, then yeah, they should be able to go to the voting booth, to the polling booth, and check and see if their actual vote got to the polling booth or if it was lost in translation and they have to go vote again. So yeah, what Trump did to me is genius. It basically, if I'm him and if I'm his campaign, I keep pushing that message almost every single day until the election. Say, hey, yeah, vote. If your vote gets lost, vote again. If your vote doesn't get lost, still show up at the polling booth, see if your vote is there, and if it's not there, then everything is fine either way. And if it turns out that hundreds of thousands of people nationwide voted twice because of how poor the mail-in system is, who's that on?
All right, can we please not do anything more on voter fraud, or I'm literally going to bang my head
Brian,
against the wall.
it's a huge deal. There was an article that came out.
It's only a huge deal if Trump loses.
No,
Then
it's
it'll be a
that's
huge
exactly
deal.
No,
right.
it's a huge deal regardless.
Okay,
Brian.
so let me just be clear on this. Okay,
If
let me just be clear on
in the
this.
primary in the
We
primary
have to do the
election-
tiebreaker
Yes,
question.
we have to do one more question,
Okay,
but
fine.
let me just be very clear on this, and then we'll move on. If Donald Trump wins the election, we will not hear anything about voter fraud. If Donald Trump loses the election, we will hear about voter fraud for months, maybe even years from his pie hole. Very simple, ladies and gentlemen. If Donald Trump wins, it'll go away. If he loses, it won't be a fair election. Go ahead, Stein. By the way, that's a fact.
All right, so it's 1-1 because question 3, you both missed the mark. So here we go, tiebreaker. The topic, gentlemen, is systemic racism in policing. Big hot topic lately. A lot of people talking about it. Right?
It is.
Including Bill Barr and Wolf Blitzer.
Oh, you mean he didn't ask him about Pelosi Hairgate? I'm shocked.
So here was Wolf Blitzer's question to Attorney General Bill Barr about systemic racism.
But do you think black people are treated differently by law enforcement than white people?
JD,
it's your turn.
Here's
How did Bill Barr spin it?
Okay, I'm going to be honest with this answer. I've been very sarcastic. Here's a typical Bill Barr answer, right? I believe Bill Barr is going to say he doesn't believe in systemic racism, but he does believe there has been instances where black people have been treated differently than white people. Bill Barr is the kind of guy that you can't deny that there's racism out there, but he's not going to call it systemic racism because then that makes him look bad and it makes the president look bad. So he's going to say, yes, there are examples of racism, but he doesn't consider it systemic racism. That's how I think he answered the question.
Thank you, Brian. JD?
Yeah, I think he's going to say that no, it is a false narrative. This is not what's been going on. What the media is reporting, the statistics don't match up with it. There's no evidence that through the data, African Americans nationwide are treated any differently than Caucasians are by law enforcement.
Okay,
All right.
So Brian says, Barr said yes, but it's not systemic. There is racism, but it's not what I would call systemic. And
Right.
JD thinks Bill Barr answered that question by
Absolutely
saying
not,
that it was
yeah.
false narrative.
Right. Okay.
And here was Barr's answer.
I think there are some situations where statistics which suggest that they are treated differently, but I don't think that that's necessarily racism. Well, you know, like, didn't Jesse Jackson say that when he looks behind him and he sees a group of young black males walking behind him, he's more scared than when he sees a group of white youths walking behind him? Does that make him a racist? Did that make him a racist?
I don't even know what that answer is. And I don't know. You want to interpret it?
It's exactly the answer that I thought he was going to say. He's going to admit, because he has to, that there are some instances where African Americans are treated differently based on statistics. It's true. But he's thank you, Sean. But he's never going to admit anything that Donald Trump doesn't admit. That is his MO.
That has nothing to do with Donald Trump at all.
Okay,
Donald Trump is not Brian.
If you say so.
In the majority of places nationwide where there's the most black-on-black crime or African Americans that are apprehended. By the way, this just came out yesterday. The Minneapolis Police Department, they did 46 of those exact same chokeholds over the last 5 years that ended up with someone passing out. What Chauvin did. That came out yesterday.
Well, we're out of time.
Yeah, we are out of
And
time.
I don't know who won that last round.
Give it to Brian. He won.
Okay, fine. Brian
fine.
wins. And
Yeah.
as usual, we have no prizes to give away. So thank you all for playing another
Wait, what do you mean you don't have any
another
prizes?
round of How Did Bill Barr Spin It, which
All right.
will probably be the last
Here's
time we
my
ever
prize.
play this game.
Here's my prize. Stein, tell me if you think you're okay with this. When JD lost a bet to me several months ago, we had him say something on the air. Can we play that? Is that a fair prize for me? JD, are you okay with that?
Yeah, it's fine, Brian. You can play that.
All right. Sean, can we play that audio, please? This is my prize, ladies and gentlemen.
J.D. Sharp, am an idiot and a buffoon.
I'm sorry. That's fun. I can't help it. It's fun when I hear that. All right. Thank you, Mr. Stein. You did a good job moderating that. I wouldn't have been able to do it myself. So thank you.